Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ale, short for Alejandra. Thank you for being here and sharing your time with me. I really appreciate it. I've been very excited about filming this video. It's something I'm always kind of looking forward to. It's in the back of my head. Every time I go into my journal and do a spread, I know that in the end I will have a completed insert and I'll be able to share it with you guys, which is very exciting. I wanted to share before I started the name of the insert that I use for those of you that might be interested. I'm sorry if this is very glary. It's the 019 Traveler's Notebook and it's called the Free Diary Weekly Plus Memo. This is the insert I'll be using for the next 6 months. I just haven't had the time to set it up the way I want to. So today I thought I would just do a full flip through of my journal and hopefully you will find that enjoyable. Okay, let's get started. So, in case anyone cares, although I feel like I have videos on this already, but some of you may not know, at the front I keep this pearl charm that I made. It was just a freshwater pearl that I purchased and then I went to a bead shop and set it up as a charm. And then I also have a little locket where I don't, see if my claws can, there we go. I don't actually keep a photo, I just keep a note that Michael wrote to me. And I'm happy to share it with you guys because it's so sweet. Yeah, it says, "Our life is beautiful forever, M." Which is so cute, and knowing that I have that in here, I think it's also something that I keep in mind even on the days that life feels a bit mundane, that my life is beautiful. And I really try and channel that when I'm journaling. Okay, moving on. Let's do this. The same spread as it was at the beginning of the year, although I did this personalizing where I added a photo strip. I usually only keep my photo strips here, but I had 2 tucked in depending, like sometimes I swap them around, but I decided to just have one more visibly right when I opened my journal, so that sits here. This is called A Teeny Tiny Times. You can buy it at least Canadian stationery stores. I don't know if you can get them elsewhere, but I realized a couple of years ago that it was the perfect size for this pocket, so it always lives there. I have some dot stickers for when I need them, my golden stars for highlights, and then this is a little folder that I keep that has like photos and other related bits, and it has printed photos that I have, double-sided tape, and photo corners, as well as somewhere in here lives just like a cutout of the sizing of the photos that I use so that I can use it as a template when I'm planning out the spread of a page. Okay, let's get into the thick of it, which is what I'm really excited to show you. And that is the Traveler's Notebook insert that I just shared with you. As you can tell, I did not keep it in its green state. I purchased this beautiful textured natural paper and wrapped the notebook in it, and then at the very back of the insert I glued the piece of paper that comes in the back of this so that I would know what insert it is that I had used, just for when people ask me, or just so that I know in the future if ever, I don't know, I forget. Anyway, so yeah, I wrapped it and I think it looks really beautiful, and I'm excited to wrap my next notebook. I chose different paper this time around, but it's kind of a similar feel. I will film a video to show you. On the front cover, I just stamped January-June 2025. Guys, I'm gonna try and maintain my excitement. I just feel really proud of how I've kind of figured out each page, like what I want to put in each page, so there's no blank pages in the entire insert, and I'm very proud about it. Okay, yes, the first page is what I call my guest book, and this is when I remember because I don't always remember. But when I remember and I'm out with my loved ones, I will pull out my notebook and ask them to sign it for me. And everyone's always a bit like nervous to know what it is they have to write, and I remind them that it doesn't have to be anything serious. It's as if I were asking them to sign, I don't know, my high school yearbook, and it doesn't have to be that intense, but I think they feel the pressure because all of my friends know how important my journal is. But they've all gone above and beyond and have said such wonderful, lovely things, and I'm very excited to, years from now, look back on these inserts and see all of the people that were with me during these 6 months at least, and I'm sure they will all continue to be with me. They better be with me forever. Okay, and then in the next page, I have what's called my highlights, and I have 2 pages dedicated for my highlights. One is more of my personal highlights, and then the other one, or more like personal highlights, and then the other one is just general highlights. So a lot of the things are events or moments or days that I spent with people. So this was a coffee date that I had with my dear friend Parker. This was another dinner date I had with a friend. This was when we started bird feeding. Michael and I started bird feeding, so I took a photo at the park that we were at to symbolize that. This was the ferry we took to go to a concert in Vancouver. That was a really highly anticipated concert, especially for Michael. We went to see Foster the People, if anyone watching is a fan of that band. This photo, I took it on film and it didn't really turn out, but I still think it's such a darling photo. It was at our friend's engagement party, which was very special. Then I hosted a Galentine's Day gathering, so that's the photo for that. I had a little date day with Michael, and it was just an overall really joyous day, so that represents that. Another coffee date with a different friend, markets that I've attended. We went camping in March. I made a new friend. The weather in April was turning enough where I was finally able to do ocean dips. I mean, where I live, you can do ocean dips year round, but I'm not always mentally up for it, if I'm being honest. But in April, I had no excuses and I was back at it. This is a photo that my friend Hannah, who doesn't live in the province that I live in, she lives very far from me. She was using a journaling system similar to mine, and she was very excited and was having a lot of fun using stickers, and I sent her a little package with some stickers that I thought she might be able to use. So she sent me a photo of her little journaling spread, and I thought it was so darling, so I included it here. More coffee dates with more friends, a exciting book sale that happens every year in my city that I couldn't miss, and I got arguably too many books, more new friends, and then my visit from Hannah, which was the highlight of my life. And then June, sunny, weather's turning around, lots of beach days, the 2000s club party that I went to with my friend Claire, and we had such a blast. That was truly such a highlight of June. And other lovely things, a friend's birthday picnic, some other friends, just such a lovely thing, I think, to look back on in one spot. You can see it all. And then I think I've expressed this in the past, but I sometimes really fear that I will lose all of the photos that I've taken and I'll have no physical way of ever seeing them again. And this kind of reduces that fear significantly. And then, these are what I said were my personal highlights. So, for example, this ring that I wear every single day, I actually lost it for, I want to say a year, if not a bit longer, and it's a family heirloom. It's actually my mom's and my grandma's initials. So I was devastated when I lost it. I didn't know what to do with myself. And then in January, randomly, my partner was doing like a clean in our storage closet, and he found it in there. It was super random, but it was truly, it had to be noted as a highlight because it has not come off my finger ever since, and I am so grateful to have been reunited with it. And then the next photo, I don't know that I need to go through each one because some of them might be very specific. But like this is a bookstore that I love to go to. A photo of Annie Ernaux because, as you all know, I've been obsessed with Annie Ernaux. My vinyl stand that I got for my birthday. It's kind of been a work in progress as to how to organize everything and how to fit books and vinyls perfectly. And in January, I feel like we finally got it to the ideal display. February was kind of the month of matcha. I was drinking so much matcha, so that's kind of representative of that. Valentine's Day, my little Ale charms that I have on my passport journal. I went on a work trip to Vancouver. Just little joys. My friend gifted me a Kobo e-reader, a friend's memorial, and they did a chalk illustration of him on the sidewalk, and it was so beautiful. I had to make sure that was with me forever. Yeah, all sorts of little joys, a lot of nail photos because it's fun to keep track of what I've done with my nails over the years. Anyway, over the months, whatever. Okay. Moving on. This is actually, I'm just going to expose myself straight up because I can't believe I did this. I, again, tend to journal at night, limited lighting at my desk, just to, have the ambiance. But that can also be detrimental because I clearly couldn't see colors properly. I do not like, I don't know why, okay, no shit in the game, I just do not like blue ink. And my mom actually almost exclusively writes with blue ink, so every time I say that, I feel like I'm taking a jab at my sweet mom. I'm not. I don't know what it is. I think it reminds me of school, and I just don't want to write in blue ink. But I think I never fully rehomed or got rid of the Kaweco blue ink cartridges that come when you buy a pen, and I think I accidentally put one in instead of swapping it for a black ink. So for the first week of January, second week, third week, for 3 weeks I wrote in blue ink and didn't realize, which is kind of insane, but that's okay, it happens. This was our ticket when we were coming back from Ontario back to BC. Very cute, very sweet. Then the next page is so darling because it was the Three Wise Men Day, which in Canada it's not very celebrated, but it is in Mexico. And Michael gave me a little gift for it because he knows it's a big deal for me and my family. And it was just a lime squeezer, but it was something that I couldn't believe I didn't have in my home, and now I had it, and he left me a cute little note that says from Melchor, Gaspar y Baltasar para tu limón, which just means for your lime, which is so funny that he wrote that in Spanish because he doesn't speak Spanish, but he's learning, and that's hilarious. So as you can see, a lot of I didn't have any lime stickers, but I did have lemon stickers, so that's there. And then I have a citrus stamp, if you will, so I put that there as well. I frankly hate the spread, so this is going to be very quick. It's just too eclectic for my taste. I doodled these book covers, and it took so long to do them, and then I don't think that they got the space that they deserved. I would do the spread very differently looking back. But excitingly, this was before I only had 2 rows of books, and I finally got a next shelf essentially. And already I'm running out of room on those shelves, but that was an exciting moment. And again, when I'm flipping through these pages, I can see that immediately and know exactly why this photo is there, which is cool. And more bird feeding, like I had mentioned earlier. So continuing on, this is where I start feeling more at peace. We're back to the black ink, gluing a lot of fun things. There's, some color cohesion. And then I returned, I guess I did do it here. I like to do the quote of the week at the top. I think it fills in that space quite nicely, but there were some weeks back here where I didn't have a quote, which is okay. But when it works out, it makes me very happy. And as some of you may know, I do very simple tracking at the top. I just do yoga, movement, and socializing. And actually in the last 2 months I'm only doing socializing and yoga. Because movement, I don't know. I just don't need to track it. Like if I do something other than yoga, that's great. If I don't, whatever. Yeah, so a lot of just gluing little random bits and pieces, chopsticks, a Lush sticker, a movie ticket when I went to see Baby Girl. And you'll see when I show you my second insert in my notebook, you'll see that some of these things that happen here, I wanted more space to talk about them, and then I do a separate spread for it. Okay, maybe I'll talk a little less and just show you. That day was the concert that I mentioned that's in my highlights back here. Very lovely day, which is why there's a little star highlight, because it's the highlight of the week. This was another satisfying spread to look at, in my opinion. This is when it got confirmed that we were going to go see The Weeknd in Vancouver, and my dad is coming from Ontario and is going with us, which is so exciting. Yeah, more spreads. This was a green and yellow spread, and up at the top I actually took a screenshot of a message that Michael's dad sent me, which was a really thoughtful message, and I wanted to make sure I saved it because it's a very sweet memory. I think my whole process with my journaling is just to make things as sentimental and nostalgic as possible. And little things that would otherwise naturally kind of fade into your memories, like very distant memories. And I don't want that. I want things, not that, I mean, it's inevitable for memories to fade, but if I can help cement them a bit better, I'm happy to do that. I love this spread. I think this might be my favorite of the year, maybe. Yeah, I feel pretty confident about that. I think it is. It just looks, I love the colors. I love the neatness of it. I love the paragraph structuring. Yeah, aesthetically very satisfying. I love it a lot. This one's also quite fun. This was from the work trip that I went on, and I was taking lots of fun photos at the ferry and at my hotel. Yeah, so cute. And I got to use some like sea-related stickers, which felt very relevant to the overall theme. Oh, this is when I saw Mickey 17, which was a film I absolutely adored this year, and I did an entire spread on it. In fact, there's a whole video because I recorded the process of that. This is another cute spread, I think, because it has, again, similar colors, the brown and the red, and it's overall, like, thematically really pleasing to the eye. And I did my check marks in red, which was fun because I was tying it in with the red words all over the page. I was going through a big change, I guess, in my personal life at this time, but I'm very proud that I stayed consistent despite that happening, because oftentimes in my life I will become less consistent when I'm going through hardship. So that's a score. This is one of my favorite things to do. I started doing this last year, which is printing photos of hands and putting them, like cutting it out and putting it on the notebook. I had purchased Michael a ring, so I wanted visual evidence of that, and it looks so fun. So that's there, and that's where the ring is from. It's called Wholesome. Sticker refuses to stay down, and I don't know why. That's okay. This one's a nice spread too, I think. This stamp is just so gorgeous. It's definitely the standout point. Very sweet. I also love, these are not actual stickers. They're like the transfer stickers that you kind of have to like press down and it puts it on the page. I like them a lot because there's no there's no feeling to them. It just feels like the page, which is nice, and it doesn't add bulk, which clearly these are getting bulky again comparatively to how it starts. Look at that. This one also has a lot going on, but I'm okay with it simply because I stuck to the same like sticker sheet design aside from the little baby owls. So it makes me feel a little bit less frantic. Very fun. This is me talking about the Margarita Diaries, which is this thing that I'm doing where I'm trying lots of different margaritas in my city to try and find the best one. And so far there's some high contenders, but the search continues. Love this one too. The stickers. And again, these are like, a lot of these things are not necessarily purchased. Like this is a sticker that came when I purchased a cinnamon bun. That word is always a tongue twister for me. Anyway, and this is where we had dinner. This is their logo, and I just cut it out of their business card. This red heart came with my red traveler's notebook, and I just gently peeled it. Same with this, same with this. I mean, this was a Lipton chicken noodle soup that I made my partner, so I just cut that out. Okay, so you can use like true ephemera, like little bits and pieces that are around you. You just have to remember to collect them and then cut them and put them in your journal. This spread for me, when I look at this, I immediately remember that it was when I received a really exciting stationery order with all these beautiful stamps, and I wanted to incorporate it as much as I could in the spread. This one's very fun too. I had purchased these red Puma shoes, which I'm obsessed with, and I'm very glad that I purchased them. And I continued with the red theme to keep it up to my standards. Yeah, it's all so cute, and it's so lovely to be able to reflect back on this. I also I consider my journals like quite word heavy, I think. So I love a spread like this where it's just like very simple decorating on the side, and then the rest is just words. I think it looks nice, and it I don't know, I think it reflects me quite accurately, like visually. I don't know. Even though, don't get me wrong, I do like varying. It can all be different week to week. I also hate the spread. I don't know what it is. It looks too messy, too crowded. I don't like it at all. But it is what it is. You're not going to like them all. We're almost to the end. This was a brutal week, I'll be honest. I was so sick, as you can see. Like, this was my last day of freedom, the Monday. And it was partial freedom. Like, we were at the beach, but I could tell that I was getting sick. Luckily, it was just Michael and I in the open air, so everyone was safe. But then I was just so sick the rest of the time. Ugh, I hate being sick. I think we all do, but it just really... And I put this quote up the top that says, "Everything is super important until you are sick. Then you realize that there was only ever one thing that was important, your health." And I can't agree more. It also threw my yoga and my socializing off track. Like, I didn't do anything that week, which is a big mental hurdle for me. I feel like I start getting like, I feel useless, if that makes sense. Like, I can't just sit there and rest, even though I know there's no other thing for me to do. But I just start being like, what am I doing with my life? But I just had to let the sickness run its course. Okay, second last week, I think. Yeah, I really like this one as well. I think it looks very nice. I realized that putting the like weather tracking on the side here, which is what I did on the other week that I claimed as my favorite week of the year, of the past 6 months, because I think it creates a nice, where is it? It creates a nice border, and then also reduces the amount of visual like visually it kind of neatens it up so that there's not that much writing. You know what I mean? As opposed to when there's writing in every corner. I don't know. They both look nice, but it is something I noticed about myself that I did like when I did the weather tracking on the side. But would I be able to keep track of the weather year round? I don't think so, I'll be honest. Especially because in the winter, there would be like clouds every day, and that might make me sad. Yeah, just little things. Very sweet. And this was the final week. This is it. As you may have seen in my last video, I got this wooden palette, and this was just in the wrapping that came with it, and I cut it out and glued it here, and then just did relevant stickers for the different things that I was up to each day of the week. And that's it. Although, so in the insert, there are typically extra pages in the back, but in the past, I didn't know what to do with them, right? But this year, I cracked the code. Like I said at the beginning, I did my guest book and then my highlights. So those pages were filled up fully. And then here, I decided to do essentially mid-year highlights. And this is what it looks like. I already showed this in my previous video. But on this side, it's the pieces of clothing that I've worn most the past 6 months. I could definitely fit one more in here, but I just haven't been able to think of what that final article of clothing will be. Maybe I can do my ring since I'm so chuffed about having it back. Anyway, and then all of my favorite hygiene products, if you will. I guess it's like makeup and skincare and all of those things. So that's on that side. And then the very final page is my media wrap up. And I have my favorite books of the past 6 months, the albums that have been on repeat, although each week I do like what I watched, what I listened to, what I read, so I can always look back if I wanted more specific examples of what it is that I was listening to throughout the year. But I did want to highlight, specifically I wanted to highlight these 3 albums because they were released this year, and that's SZA's SOS Deluxe Edition, and this is Bad Bunny's album Debí Tirar Más Fotos, which I think is abbreviated now to Debí Tirar Más Fotos, DTMF, sorry, my brain. And then The Weeknd's new album, which obviously is very important because I'm going to go see that. I'm going to go see him in concert with my dad and my partner, and I'm very excited. And Alt J's album, The Dream, came out a few years ago, but for whatever reason, I've just been really enamored by it all over again. And then these are my favorite movies or TV shows so far these past 6 months. This is a Mexican film that's quite old or older. It's called Y Tu Mamá También. I really enjoyed it. This is Perfect Days, Moonlight, Maestro, Adolescence, A Real Pain, Love on the Spectrum, Hello, of course, Baby Girl, Anora, Warfare, Severance, and Mickey 17. A lot of good things, especially I think in this department. I mean, music always. I feel like the reading has been a bit slower, but these 3 were really great and I've loved them a lot. But lots of good films and TV shows, so I'm very pleased about that. Okay, that's it for this insert. Let me delve into the next one. I'm a bit worried this is going to be a brutally long video and you will all be bored. Okay, this is it's called like lightweight paper insert, which essentially just means it has significantly more paper, which my plan was to make it last for the entirety of the year. At the 6-month mark, I was a bit past the halfway point of the insert, but I think I'll be able to make it work because when I go on my trip, I'm going to use a separate insert altogether, so that will save me 2 weeks of writing. So I think I'll be able to keep a year within this notebook, and that way the only thing I'm swapping out is this one, but I can keep this one for the whole year. So this, I put a little photo booth strip here, and it just says diary, Very cute. Okay, so at the beginning of the year, I started off by doing what I did last year, which is I would stamp the month and then on the back do like an index. So I would say like the date and then kind of a title for the entry. But then I started losing track of the dates that I was writing, and I've ended up not doing that consistently till the very end of June. But yeah, as you can see, so what I had mentioned about the Day of the Three Wise Men, this one, I had more that I wanted to say, so I created a full spread about that day. And again, I didn't have any lime stickers or much less a lime squeezer, so I found an image of a lime squeezer and then put it on my Procreate and then doodled on top of it. And I created this, and then I made one for a little lime. And yeah, I just made an entire write up about it because the story is a bit too long to share now, but it was just such a funny, endearing moment that my partner and I shared, and I really wanted to keep it fully. Okay, I'm gonna keep flipping until I maybe find one that I feel like may need some additional context, because otherwise I feel like they're very straightforward. It's like tickets, restaurant receipts, food, stickers and wrappings. You know, nothing too crazy. Then I have found out that this is my favorite way to journal, when I do like a big kind of like a day wrap up or a weekend's wrap up of images and then write about it. I think visually this looks so beautiful, and in my humble opinion, like this is my aesthetic. I know that word can be quite overused, but it's the only way I can kind of figure to describe it. And then this is when I went to see Baby Girl, and I had a lot of thoughts, and wanted to put some raunchy photos. Moving on. This was another doodle I did about a skincare product that I was using religiously. I always use it religiously, but even more so in February. I had like one of the worst like breakouts that I've had in a very long time. It was very humbling, but we made it through. This one's so cute as well. It was my Galentine's and then my date day with Michael, and I put in our museum ticket because we went to the museum, and that's actually where we went on our first date, so it was nice to be back all these years later. I have a whole video on this spread, as well as, where is it? This spread. This is a dedicated Annie Arnaud spread because, like I said before, I'm obsessed. And then this was a spread for Mickey 17 because I thought it was a fantastic film. I really like this one too. I did some doodling, and again, this was during the period of time where I was kind of going through some growing pains, if you will, and I decided to doodle different things that I did that day and then write about them. So kind of like an illustrated day, or whatever you want to call it. And then this receipt was originally a receipt from the Papery, which is a stationery in Victoria, BC, but it faded so quickly. But luckily I had a sticker for their store, so I just glued it on top. And yeah, we had a pizza night, so I cut the logo and the pizza that came in the pizza box and glued it in here. I also have an entire journal video, like a journal with me video on this one. So cute. I love the door hinges. It's serotonin times 1,000. We went to play bingo. That's where this is from. Michael took these beautiful photos of these harbor seals, and I find them so adorable. I think they're a very, very cute animal. So, yeah, they're so cute. Look at this little baby and its mama. It's so cute. Happy days and after work joys. This was one of my goals this year, was I can't, I work Monday to Friday. There's no way around that. That's fine. But I wanted to make sure that I was making more time to do joyful things after work, so that my weekends don't feel like they need to make up for my 5 other days. I can spread out the joy throughout the week. And yeah, these 2 pages I think turned out really nice. Again, I love doing the cutouts of certain things. I think it gives it it adds a visual element, as opposed to all of the photos being in the same dimension. This kind of spices it up. And this has been another thing that I've been enjoying doing, like Saturday on one side, Sunday on one side, and then it's like a weekend overview. Quite satisfying. Oh, this is when I went to a used book sale, and I went 2 days actually. But the first day, these are the books that I purchased. And before, you're like, whoa, that's excessive. Regardless it is, but bear in mind, the paperbacks were $2 each Canadian, and the hardcovers were $4 each Canadian. You would never get that deal anywhere else, and I firmly believe that. This is another cutie little spread about my weekend. Again, Saturday, Sunday kind of deal. There was a photo booth at the movie theaters, which I had never noticed before, but you'd betcha bottom dollar that we went in and took some photos and spent too much money on the photo booth. But it's worth it because it's here now and it's so cute. I do a lot of little door hinges. Gotta maximize. Gotta include as many photos as possible. This, gasp. I still haven't finished it. I'm sorry. I still haven't. But I'll get to it because, it's all laid out and ready to go. I just need to put the words down. And we did like a lot of fun eating out. So next to each photo, I wrote down what restaurant or whatever we're in. So I'm very excited to get to this and write this. But happy bellies and happy hearts, indeed. I will get to that eventually. But I didn't make it in time before this video. This was the week that I told you that I was deeply ill, so I decided to do some doodling because I was sad. And I was being dramatic, like the day that we went to the beach, the last day of freedom, because that's really how it felt. And sometimes in order to cope, I just need to lean into the drama. Oh yay, my last video is about this, so you can watch me do it in real time. That's where it is. This was my friend's birthday. That's not an actual ticket, so we're not worried. That's a fake ticket. But we're gonna go see Lola Young in December, which is super exciting. If you haven't seen my How I Use My Traveler's Notebook video, I do these like privacy screens when I'm doing like a heavier entry, or just an entry where I'm talking about something that a family member is going through or something like that, and it's not my place to share that information. So I just put these little screens to keep everything a little bit private, not only for when I share it on the internet, but also so that when I'm going through my notebook, it kind of gives me a little reminder of like, hey, you may not want to read that unless you're in the headspace to do so. Same with this. This is like the only 2 within these 6 months that I had to do that for, which I think is a good sign. Yeah. And it's fun to like decorate it sometimes. I put a little stamp on the paper and it gives it a nice little element, but it keeps things discreet. Another Saturday, Sunday spread. which was a really beautiful weekend. We went out for brunch, and it's a fully vegan restaurant, and I ordered eggs Benedict, and it was the most terrifying vegan eggs Benedict I've ever seen. It looked so real. I was so frazzled when I cut into it. And this is the last spread. This was June 25th, and then I haven't dated this, but this was, what was it, June 28th? So the very end of the 6 months, or as close to as I got. And yeah, this was when I went to play tennis with my friend Claire, and we're very bad at taking photos, so I had to do a doodle, and that's it. And I took a photo of us on my film camera, but I haven't got it developed. But once I print it out, it'll go within this little stamp. So sweet. Anyway, friends, that's it. That's all. I appreciate you for being here, because I feel like this is going to be quite a lengthy video. But yeah, I hope this was enjoyable. It truly is my pride and joy. I'm so attached to the system and to all the memories and love that it contains. And I'm very, very excited to continue sharing that with you. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your time with me. I genuinely really, really appreciate it. You have all been so kind to me, and I can't believe I have such a lovely little community on the internet. I'm very grateful. Yeah, let's blow out these candles, and I will see you when I see you. Bye!